ass and then flip that. Hey, whoa. Hay 7 demonios tratando de controlarme. No me quiero ir al infierno, pero ellos quieren llevarme. Hey, look, whoa. Hay 7 demonios tratando de controlarme. No me quiero ir al infierno, pero ellos quieren llevarme. No quiero nada con tu novia, está empezando a molestarme. Soy suave como el bicrepo y por eso quieren montarme. I'll see, she let it bounce, I'll see. Shorty bad, yeah, she know she a...
Hey, what's up everybody? Cyelee with Parallel Defense. Thank you guys for clicking on this video. Today we're going to be reviewing an optic that was it was new for me, but definitely something that I wanted to get out to you guys. Seen a couple things about it. Today we're going to be talking about the Cyelee Optics Wolf 2. First and foremost, all transparency, Cyelee did send this out to me, hoping that I give it a good review. And I'm going to give it my honest review, as you guys know. So first and foremost, let's get some things out the way. It's a sub $150 optic. It's hard to like beat the price for it, so take that as you will. I do believe they're Chinese. That may throw some of you guys off. I believe they operate in Kansas City, but you know, take that as you will. I don't really care too much about that because it doesn't matter to me, but for some people it's a deal breaker. Myself personally, again, I could care less. But Cyelee reached out to me a couple months ago, said, hey, can you review this optic? We're gonna send you a Wolf 2, and I was like, awesome. Wolf 2 got here, and I was like, this is pretty nice. Let's jump into it. So I'm gonna read you guys some specs real quick of the Wolf 2. The Wolf 2 is a 3 MOA dot with a 64 MOA ring. It does use an RMR footprint. When you get your box, it's gonna come with a bunch of screws. It has what they call Stig RS. It's an astigmatism relief feature. So essentially, if you have an astigmatism and you look at a dot, it's supposed to starburst. If you don't know what starburst is, it's essentially where you have different strays of lights popping out of a dot. You don't see one crisp dot like the rest of us. I do not have an astigmatism. I did have a couple of friends of mine that do have a slight one that shot it and said they couldn't tell. They could actually see what we see now through a dot, that it did have an actual proof to their technology that it is astigmatism proof, I guess you would say. And I don't want to say proof because I don't want to 100 proof it. I don't have an astigmatism. I can't guarantee you that everybody that has an astigmatism is going to benefit from this technology. But the people that were looking behind it, that friends of mine said that they enjoyed it. It definitely felt like shooting a regular red dot to them, or what we perceive as a regular red dot, and they liked it. So that was big ups to Cyelee Optics right there. Continuing on the list, it does have shake awake features. It's waterproof. It has 10 illumination settings, 2 night vision settings. I definitely got the test to the night vision settings. I thought they were pretty cool. Anything under night vision that gives you the thumbs up, or like you can see, it's kind of a go for me there. They do have 2 buttons. The buttons are very large. They're very nice. They have a positive click when you push them in. They go up, they go down. No issues there with the electronics there. On the website, it says it's made out of aircraft grade aluminum. Most of us are looking for a 7075 T6 aluminum. It would have given me a little bit more, I don't know, what do you say, butterflies. Like I would have been happier for it on the website for it to say made out of 7075 T6 aluminum. When it just mentions aircraft grade aluminum, they could be using I think it's 6065, so they could be using a softer aluminum other than the standard of the 7075. So you know, take that as you will. I did see people do some drop tests with some of their other ones, like the Wolf 0. They did not hold up to the drop test, but again, this is a carry concealed optic. I'm not signing off on this for duty. I don't sign off on a lot of my optic for duty. A lot of the optics testing that I personally do are carry concealed optics. We all know currently right now the best duty optics are your closed emitter optics. There's nothing beating those. 508 from Hollow Sun definitely has some good features there, and the Swamp Fox Optics Justice also passed it, but we know King is closed emitter right now. I'm curious to see how the RCR from Trijicon will do, or the RHR, whatever the new one, but aside that, the Cyelee is not a duty use optic. It's not going to hold a strong fall. So back to it, it does use a 1632, which is kind of odd. It's not our typical 2032 battery that we're used to, but 1632s are still fairly out there. You can get them. I believe some of the smaller Holosuns use a 1632, so it's kind of on par with that. It does have a top loading battery, which is nice. A lot of us want that. Some of the other optics still haven't come to that point yet, and a lot of people have. So having that top loading capability is a huge must for a lot of people, and they get a thumbs up for that there. So that's kind of it as far as everything. It has a 50,000 hour battery life, one-time magnification, and then it just goes into the generic stuff that most of us look at. It does have a limited warranty, all that jazz. Let's talk about my opinion now. So first and foremost, I didn't really get to pick when Cyelee reached out to me which optic I wanted to review. They said, hey, we're going to send you this. I said, cool. Didn't get to tell them that I'm not a huge fan of the large ringed optics. I think this optic here specifically for me would be perfect on a shotgun because of that 64 MOA ring. I personally cannot stand shooting with it. It's way too much in my glass, and it's very distracting. And it's weird to explain because it's not so much like an etched reticle, right? When we talk prism sights, there's a lot in there too. But when you have an illuminated red dot and you have this large 64 MOA, it kind of takes up 90% of the glass, and that's what I felt like it did for me. Now, here's the caveat to that. There is a benefit to it. That is a personal preference of mine that I do not like. That does not mean that the optic's bad. I'm not saying that it's bad. It's something that I do not prefer. What it does have benefit for is close target acquisition, right? When you get that up, it's just like an EOTech. As soon as you see that donut or that ring on your target, you know you're good to fire as long as that is sitting on your target. Where it starts to lose its ability is when you start stretching that out and the target becomes smaller. That is where personally I feel like it's a big issue, because then you can no longer focus on that large ring, just the 3 MOA dot, which some people can adjust their focus. I don't like it. It's difficult for me to just ignore this massive ring in my face and pay attention to that tiny dot in there. So I don't like that. But aside that, I do think the optic performed very well. I shot about 300 rounds through mine. I had no electronical issues. I've carried it before, though I can't stand it. Though I can't stand the ring, I have carried it to kind of give myself the fuzzies. It's worked. The light didn't shut off. The brightness didn't change. I'm here to report there were no actual issues with the Cyelee optic. And for the price point, it's really hard to beat. Now, here's what I'll say when you're talking about comparison and putting it on a poll. You guys know I'm all for optic companies to increase and improve. Right now, their price point for the Cyelee optic, I believe, is $122 on their website. That's very cheap, right? That's like crazy cheap. If you're building a budget range gun, this is the optic for you. Go buy it right now. You'll be as happy as they. When you're talking about defending your life for it, some people will see that price tag and be very cautious because they're like, do I want to trust a $120 optic with my life? Some people have an issue with that. It was the same thing when Holosuns originally started. They were like $150 to $200, and people were really weary about that because at the time you had Trijicon, which is $900. I'm exaggerating. It's normally like $650 and up. And then you had this nice competitor at $200, and nobody could trust their life to it because it hadn't gone through its vetting process. I think Cyelee is still such a new company that you have influencers and content creators and instructors developing and kind of signing off and saying if it's there yet. So right now it's $122. In a year or two, it may be $300 like the Holosuns we see today. It could increase its price. I think Cyelee has a lot of room for growth, and I'm excited to see where they go. Myself personally, I'm going to keep running it. Like I said, it does come with a Picatinny mount. I didn't mention that. So putting this on like a shotgun or like a PCC, something small, I think it'd be really good on that, especially for me. But on my carry pistol, I just don't like that ring. What I would like to see from Cyelee is options. I definitely reached out to them to see if I can test some of their other optics to go in depth and see if some of the other ones have features that I like. But for this right here, man, it's not a bad optic. It definitely has a weird shape. It has that round top, which we know when those round tops hit a surface, it's really, really difficult for them not to crack and break. I believe the review that I watched from somebody else, it did crack, right? So I think the guy did 3 or 4, and it only cracked in the first 1/3 of the optic, which is still good because the red dot was still projecting onto the glass. It cracked good, what some people would say, so it didn't like crack all the way down and shatter. It stayed at the top, maintained, the glass didn't pop out, so it held well for there. But that's all I have. Again, go ahead, check Cyelee out. They definitely are dropping a bunch of stuff. If you want to see more on it, go ahead and check Got Gamage on YouTube. He does a bunch of reviews for them, and I believe he has 2 or 3 of their optics, to include their Bear closed emitter, which is kind of a very, very close comparison to the Swamp Fox Kraken. But go ahead and check them out. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it. Give me a like, subscribe, comment in the bottom. Let me know what you think. Let me know what questions you may have for upcoming reviews with Cyelee, and y'all have a good day.